I recently saw this when it comes to ICP. Now, what do I mean by this? Even though nothing I say is financial advice. Even though ICP is around like $3, around that range again. But at the same time, at least there's something to keep me a little bit positive, I suppose, because according to, Token Terminal, in terms of top layer 1 chains by daily transaction count, there's two things that I can see at least standing out when it comes to this. Because not too long ago, they made this post, right? And we take a look at how Internet Computer is number one. Pretty impressive considering how it's not the most popular project out there. Now, what's number two? Supposedly something like Solana, and then we see the BNB chain and all this. But then I'm just saying, if we take a look at, for instance, right, just from a kind of notoriety level type of way, what's more popular? Something like Stellar, for instance, the Near Protocol, or something like the Internet Computer. Now, historically, I would say actually they are more popular, right? But then at the same time, my point of view is that we're beginning to kind of see a little bit of a shift right now when it comes to something like the Internet Computer, in which case still it's not the most popular out there, but at the same time, it is still pretty interesting seeing this nonetheless. It's not something that I would originally think about, right? Like when I think about ICP, I don't think about, oh, is it the top layer 1 chain by daily transaction count? Like, no, it's a very specific, like, sort of thing I would have to think about in that case. But I'm just saying, sometimes when I take a look at this stuff, I'm just like, wow, like, that's pretty impressive, actually, when it comes to the Internet Computer. Now, at the same time, though, I mean, again, we're back at around $3 when it comes to ICP. Is it necessarily the best feeling out there? Well, I think there's two ways to take a look at it. Personally, in my case, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, and again, nothing I say is financial advice. Now, what do I mean by this? If my sort of intention is to, I would say, dollar cost average, seeing something like this is not something I would necessarily be kind of, I would say, not delighted to see, maybe. I mean, the thing is, when I take a look at, sure, ICP not too long ago was around $9, right? And that was kind of pretty impressive considering how it kind of did that sort of independently. There was really no altcoin season. Actually, a lot of altcoins were having a pullback. It just kind of did that sort of seemingly out of nowhere. But I'm just saying, it did that. But I'm also in this mindset where if, let's say, I'm able to dollar cost average back at around $3, am I necessarily going to be complaining about that? I didn't mind before. Am I going to suddenly mind right now? I think probably not. That's the way to take a look at it. Now, at the same time, though, when it comes to something like, again, ICP, that $3 range, we just kind of haven't really seen that ever since 2023. So that's kind of a while ago, actually. Within this space, that's kind of a long time. And we know what kind of happened when it comes to ICP back in 2024. We saw at one point nearly $19 actually at one point. And again, that was like from hovering around $3 and then it did that. Now, in the grand scheme of things, do I think that was an altcoin season? No, I don't think so. I mean, I think it was like a different sentiment when it comes to altcoins. I think a lot of altcoins did pretty okay, but I don't think that was an altcoin season. Now, is there going to be an altcoin season during this cycle? I mean, I can't control that, right? There's just no way I can control, the market or something like that. I mean, again, there's just no way I could do that. But I'm saying, when it comes to something like, ICP, my point of view is that I'm just going to keep dollar cost averaging. That's about it. I'm going to wait and see what happens. Now, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. And clearly, right, even if someone told me to do something, like, I'm making the decision on my own in this case. Like, I could easily not believe in ICP. Like, I could just do that right now, right, and just kind of exit and not really care anymore. But the reason why I still care is because I still like the fundamentals of the Internet Computer. I still like what Dfinity is doing, more specifically when it comes to caffeine AI. But also on top of that, I just feel like I haven't seen altcoin season. So if there's those two factors right there, am I suddenly going to just like give up? I don't think I would, actually. But this is just my perception when it comes to this. Now, also at the same time though, when I take a look at Dfinity, sometimes you like to say, oh, caffeine AI, that's it. It's like, what? That's like literally the biggest thing they've achieved, I think, historically speaking. Like, seriously, that's the way to take a look at it. What else could I really say? Oh, they achieved this. Well, again, I think arguably that. What are people going to compare Caffeine AI with? Chain Fusion was cool, seeing those sort of integrations and all this type of stuff. Like, for instance, when I just take a look at the internet computer overall and I take a look at Dfinity, I take a look at the Solana and ICP integration, that's pretty cool. But what's cooler, Solana and ICP integration or Caffeine AI? You know? So then when I take a look at that, I actually find what Dfinity did to be pretty impressive. Imagine if Dfinity did that back when like the price was around $19, like back in 2024. Like the sentiment would be completely different, in my perspective. And the thing is, actually, $100 was what, around 5 times like away from where it once was back in April, around that time basically of 2024. Like just back in April of 2024, it was like slightly over 5 times lower than $100. Now, granted, we're currently around 27 times lower than that, but I'm just saying, like, it was not too far off, I think, hypothetically, even without an altcoin season back then. So if I'm seeing all this type of stuff, am I just going to give up like that? I don't think I want to, because, again, I still like the project. I don't see what bad thing happened to it fundamentally. If anything, I think it actually improved, which is actually kind of counterintuitive because sometimes, not within this space, right? If a business improves and all this, the stock is going to behave differently, right? But then the thing is, within this space, sometimes when a project does better, but then the altcoin space is not doing good, the price hypothetically just goes down in some cases, which seems a little bit counterintuitive because it's like, how? The project is actually doing its thing, it's actually developing, but then that happens? Like, what is that all about? But then that's kind of like the altcoin space. What can I do about it? But if I actually see a project that I think arguably became better fundamentally, but then the hypothetical price is actually lower than before, it is not a recipe for me to just kind of, I would say, bail on the project personally in my case. If anything, I just still want to dollar cost average because if I'm just waiting for like $18 for me to dollar cost average, I mean, as of right now, around $3.50, I should say, like the journey along the way could be, it's something hypothetically that I do want to be a part of. So yeah, that's just my take when it comes to this. I mean, again, all I can do as of right now is really just stay patient, but nonetheless, seeing that statistic right there, I think is pretty impressive considering how it's not necessarily, I think, kind of known that ICP is known for this type of stuff, right? Because when it comes to a project, usually, like, I would expect, Solana, I guess, I wouldn't be surprised when it comes to that, but then the internet computer, I mean, we're talking about a project that's like not even top 30 within this space. It's actually not even top 40 right now. It's actually the 41st ranked within this space in terms of market cap. And then the statistics are like that. Pretty impressive, considering how I don't really expect it when it comes to a project of this size, I would say, right? So just overall, I find it pretty interesting to me that even there is that statistic, and at the same time, when it comes to ICP, I am still a fan of it. I just haven't given up, and I'm just waiting. That's pretty much about it. It seems a little bit boring, I guess, but what can I do about it, If I could do something about it, I would, but I can't, right? I mean, I can't do anything about this right now, so I'm just going to stay patient and wait. I'm just dollar cost averaging once a month. That's pretty much about it, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. However, that's just a quick update video, I guess, when it comes to the internet computer and just kind of my thoughts on what's going on as of right now. But I'm going to stay the course, I'm just going to stay patient. I treat it like a marathon. It's not a sprint for me, so I'm just going to keep waiting and see what happens, because how can I know what the marathon feels like if I even haven't finished the marathon? That's my point of view. So, yeah, just still staying patient, and I want to say thank you for watching. I hope y'all have a nice day. It's Melanie the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.